Michigan, Detroit specifically, has been subjected to massive foreclosures. The problem is in addition to the foreclosures, people have been continuously given false hope. This started October 6, 2008, specifically with Countrywide with home loans. The Attorney General got a consent agreement, and they were supposed to be modifying Countrywide loans made prior to 2007 that involved adjustable rates and other predatory lending features. To date, they're not modifying any loans. Right. I'm in court right now, federal court, fighting for them to enforce this provision with Countrywide, and they're saying, guess what? There's no private cause of action. This Attorney General consent agreement is not between the borrower and Countrywide, but the Attorney General. We know when Obama first got into office, he announced the Making Home Affordable plan. Call your lender. Let them look at review your documents. Look at 31% of your income so you can be, modified on your loan. Guess what? We can't even count the number of cases that we have in our office where they're not modifying these loans. They're using things like, hey, we don't have to, it's post-foreclosure, it's post-sheriff sale, any excuse you could come up with. So despite the fact, yes, it looks like a terrific press release, it looks like good news, but the bottom line is that these programs are not effectively helping the homeowners, and every single day, people are being thrown out by the very lenders that have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars to supposedly help the homeowners. And what makes this even more egregious is on so many of these loans, they're getting paid off at the full value with your tax money through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. The whole bottom line is that people like myself and Jerry, we can work 24 hours a day, which we're close to right now. But none of this is going to be effective until people collectively come together and get out in the street and say, hey, we're not going to tolerate this anymore because it's your tax dollars that are evicting your neighbors. I am so disheartened and so disgusted by the process at this point. Yesterday, I'm running around like a maniac trying to file this leave to appeal to the Supreme Court for some senior citizens, 79, 80 years old, with home ec, who, guess what? They've paid more into the escrow account at this point than the home is worth. And they still want to throw these senior citizens out in the street. This is getting ridiculous. At some point, people have to wake up and realize, even if it's not happening to me today, it could be me tomorrow. And please do not tell me I pay my mortgage on time. Because one of my most egregious cases was a gentleman who had never missed a payment. They were automatically taking it out of his checking account. He gets a notice one day from the lender that says, oh, by the way, you owe us $21,000 some odd dollars. He tries to call them, say it's been a mistake. They're like, well, we don't see a mistake. Bottom line is, the day before they were going to sell his house a sheriff's sale, I have to run down there with a temporary restraining order to get the sheriff's sale blocked. We're in federal court for almost 8 months before it's like, oops, guess what? We can correct the situation now. What if he didn't have an attorney? He would be another homeless person, and he wasn't even in default. Well, people, yeah, that's true too. This is not a scenario that can be adequately addressed by the legal system.
That's right.
The statutes that are written and the policies that have been put in place are written so vaguely, there's nothing in there that places this mandated affirmative duty that says you must modify these loans. If you do not, borrowers have the right to legal recourse. None of this policy or legislation says that. Therefore, it's vague and open to dispute, and needless to say, when you're in that type of dispute, someone who has $100 million has a little bit of an advantage in the dispute over someone who is basically trying to scrape up pennies for their filing fees. The only way this is going to be corrected is for the people. I don't mean 25 people, and do not get me wrong. There have been a couple of demonstrations we've had with my clients, and 25 people came out, and we brought Bank of America to the table. But we need hundreds of thousands of people to make the type of impact that we need to have some input over what these banks are doing to the community and what they're doing with our money.
That's right.
I mean, the bottom line is this is not a scenario where they are utilizing private funding. The money they're using to foreclose on these homes, the collecting on these mortgages are our tax dollars. And we have a right to say, hey, we're not going to throw our neighbors out anymore. We're not going to allow our neighborhoods to be decimated and become vacant and become farmland. We want people in homes. We talk about creating jobs. Well, if you want to create some jobs, all you have to do is take some of this money you're using to bail these banks out, let the people fix up some of these homes to have housing. But a house is already a rocket science to figure out an effective plan to employ people, to keep people in homes, and to provide safe, affordable housing for individuals with low income. Take some of these houses and apartment buildings, let people fix them up. People who have already been displaced can have some place to live. People who are already there, the property values will go back up.
Right.
And guess what? The people will win instead of the banks.
There you go.
Very good. I definitely implore everybody to do something. Soon, you will probably be getting emails. Some of these seniors need help. They need the community to start calling and emailing these lenders. Why are you throwing the seniors out in the street in my community? Why won't you work with them? Why won't you give them their house back for the fair market value? Why are you taking our money and not doing anything to help us? And we expect, as your civic duty, people want to talk about how civic-minded they are. You know, they come out to these functions, they come out to meetings, they come out to rallies. People need to take it to the next level. Start taking some action.
Yes.
See, I'm kind of a religious person, and if you are too, you know what I'm getting ready to say. Faith without works is dead. You can believe whatever you want, but if you don't put any